Yo, what is up gamers, it's Sebastian coming with a brand new video, and today I'll be going over decks that topped the regionals in the UK on the 27th and 28th of November. If you take a look here, I made a PowerPoint for it. Love PowerPoints now, I'm a big PowerPoint Andy. So here's the deck list that ended up topping UK regionals on the 27th and 28th of November. You may be thinking, oh, this is like basically a whole week later. What's the point? Is because people don't tend to upload deck profiles until like at least sometimes they wait until Wednesday. And then like not everyone uploads their deck profiles. So I understand in America you have like the stores a lot of the time will just post lists on Facebook anyways. But that's like not really a thing that happens in Europe, so it's like more of a struggle trying to find all the lists. So I tried my hardest to find everything I could. I even asked on Twitter. Most of these are deck profiles from YouTube, but there'll be a few Twitter posts as well. Everything will be linked down below, like all the deck lists I found will be linked down below, as well as the source for each deck list. But here's the pie chart. Please don't make fun of the pie chart. I'm actually begging you guys not to make fun of the pie chart. I spent like 1.5 to 2 hours on this pie chart. Way too much time, I agree. So please, please be nice. But anyways, this pie chart has 4 Hero PK, 5 Tri-Brigade Lyrilusc, 5 Tenyi Swordsoul, 1 Hero Invoke Dogmatica, 1 Hero Sky Striker, 1 Hero Prank Kids, and then a Dinosaur list. I don't have the deck list for some of these decks. I'm missing like some of the PK decks, and I'm missing like one of the invoked decks, or the only invoked deck. But like I'll try even harder next time to get as many deck lists as I can. Next week the video, like this sort of video should be up on the Friday, hopefully. Because this wasn't really an idea I had until like last Friday, and then it took me a few days to get everything ready because there's a lot of work that happened behind the scenes for this. So let's just get into it first, though. So let's firstly look at the PK list. We have JY Sheriff right here once again. His YouTube channel, as well as the YouTube channels of all the other deck profiles, will be down below in the description. There'll be a spreadsheet if you click on that. All the decks, all the like dueling book lists, and all the deck profiles will be up there. Very easy and convenient for everyone, I know. But this is 60 card Hero PK, and you may be wondering why it's 60 card. The best guess I have is because it's JY Sheriff. He always does this. But anyways, this list is kind of cool. Unironically, he gets to play like 12 board breakers, and then he gets to decide like 9 back row blowouts. You'll notice that there's like no hand traps in this deck. Except for Lancer and Token Collector in the side. That's because both Lancer and Token Collector are engine hand traps. Being that those are hand traps that he can access very easily within Engine when he goes first, such as getting access to Token Collector by sending Fiendish Rhino Warrior to the grave with Cherubini, or using Dagda to set Lancia. You can set Lancia in response to an effect that would pop your Scythe, so you can get like both Lancer and Scythe if you really want to. In terms for the main deck, because he's playing 60 cards, he has to play like more Engine in order to keep the consistency the same or even higher. So we see the Predapon Engine and the Speedroid Engine. Predapon Engine is cool because it can get you to Fusion Destiny, so it's like the Predapon gets you to Cherubini and you don't need to make 30, so that's like 5 billion extenders off of one card, which I think is really cool. He's also playing Dangers, standard stuff. I think Mystic Mine in the main is very interesting. But overall, it's just a very standard PK list with just a bunch of extra fluff added to it. You also notice that he's playing Scam, not Libic. That's because Libic is trash. If you play Libic, you're doing everything wrong. But if you do want to play a third BA, the best third BA is always Scam, not Libic, because at least Scam can get you follow up for next turn. And then you can still do full combo even if you open Graph or Seer, or like both. So Libic's just unnecessary, but some people prefer the third BA with Scam fits. Talking of third BA, there's a fourth BA in the side deck, Baba for time. I think he mentioned in a profile and like never came up, which I should hope that if you're playing a combo deck, you probably shouldn't be going into time too much. So I'm not too sure like necessarily how good Barber is, but I thought it's funny. It's worth mentioning. In the extra deck, there's no access code because that's in the side deck. But there is a Rhapsody in Berserk, which is a strong option against the Destroy Phoenix Enforcer package. There's also Redoer for, like, for example, when he does the Predapon engine, he has the Freezing Destiny, so when he goes Bardic's Pop Breaksword, you can go Brigadine and one of the PKs into Redoer because you don't need to make 30. Which, I think is a very cool interaction, and it's, like, way easier to get to off of the Predaplants. Now, onto the next PK list, we have Alvin Funk's top 4 PK list. I think this is from the Dublin Regional. The JY Sheriff list was from the Wiltshire Regional. Some people are saying Melksham. It's like the same thing. But anyway, so this is Dublin. 42 cards instead of 60. Not really too much to say, but once again, PK is not really playing too many hand traps. They seem to just sort of shun hand traps. We do see Lightning Storm in the main, which I think is cool. Darkroom in the main is very strong too. No droplets. I'm sure, like, the thing is, like, droplets is kind of weird because outside of Tri-Brigade Lyrilusc, Chalice does the same job as droplets, and you see Chalice is in the side deck, so that might be why. We see once again Artifact Scythe being featured in the deck. Cool. Thank you guys. But in the side deck, you'll notice Evenly Match, which I think is interesting in a deck that plays Seuss. Evenly Match is a very strong blowout card at the moment. It's very good into a lot of decks. So I can understand like the idea to include Evenly Match. Judgment is also in the side, which I think is just a solid way to counter droplets. And then you have like Gossip Shadow, which I think is interesting. And instead of Access Code or Boarsword, he's playing Raiders Knight and Arc Rebellion. Such a based raid. Like Arc Rebellion OTK is always based. But anyways, now on to the Tri-Brigade Lyrilusc list. We're going to start off with Jafan Salas James. I forgot which regional this was, but this was a first place list. The bird engine is like a bit smaller than usual. He's only playing 2 Bell Canary instead of 3, and he's only playing 1 Sapphire Swallow instead of 2. He's also not really playing any of the consistency cards, like he's not playing a pot, he's not playing Small World, etc. But he is playing Foolish Burial, which you don't see too often. Foolish Burial being a card that can get you to Nerf out, or you can combine Foolish Burial with like Warbler, and that's like basically the same as Fractal Warbler. In the main deck, he's main decking 10 hand traps. Much different to the PK list we just saw, but one of those hand traps is DD Crow, which you can access in Engine from Recital Sterling. We also see Astral and Impum being the choices he makes in the main. I think Impum is a very phenomenal hand trap right now. Droll is like very strong as well, but it's more specific into what it's good into. Like I personally don't think it's like good into PK, but it's amazing if you expect a lot of Tri-Lyrilusc. In the side deck, he's side decking Gamma. I think Gamma is a very strong hand trap, probably worth like mentioning somewhere in your deck. And then we have Darkwater, Lightning Storm is more just blowouts that he can side into if the hand traps aren't effective. He's also siding Featherstorm for when you go first. This card says your opponent can activate monster effects. Good card! Very good card. In the extra deck, he is not playing Downer Magician. I think that's incorrect. I really like Downer Magician. But he's not playing Downer Magician, and he's not playing Third Recital. He's not playing Apo. Instead, he's using his flex spots on the second Ferrigit and Harpy Conductor. I wouldn't recommend Harpy Conductor, personally, because it's like... it's really easy to access some mod. You literally, you don't need Harpy Conductor to go into some mod most of the time. But other than that, like, congrats to him, first place, Tri-Lyrilusc. Now for another Tri-Lyrilusc list, kind of different. He's only playing 1 Celestine Ragtail, the previous list was playing 2. But Gabriel Net's first place is playing 3 Bell Canary and 2 Sapphire Swallow. He's also not playing Foolish Burial, but he is playing 3 copies of Triple Tactic Talents, which I've seen people say it's basically Pot of Greed, like in terms of this deck. So maybe that's like the consistency card. He's playing Droll, Impum, Ash, Crow as his hand traps, much like the previous list. But he's playing Cosmic Cyclone as like a one-off out to, I'm assuming, cards like Mystic Mine, as that's very effective into the deck. In the side deck, we see Nib Gamma, there's very strong hand traps. Lightning Storm, Mystic Mine as more sort of like board breakers. Imperial Order, like every deck so far. As well as Tri-Brigade Oath. Oath was in the main deck for the previous list, but there's been a very nice answer to board breakers. In the extra deck, we see 3 Recital Downerd instead of the Harvey Cannot the second Ferrigit, and we don't see Appaloosa. Now onto the next list. This is my list that got top 4 at Wiltshire. In here, I'm playing 3 Bell, 2 Sapphire, like the Gabriel Nets list, but I'm also playing 2 Celestine Ragtail, like the Juvan Salas James list. Here we have Pop of Desires in the deck. I think Pop of Desires is very cool, which is why I opted to play it. And then my hand traps of choice are 3 Ash, 3 Nibiru, 3 Impum. I'm not playing the DD Crow because I feel DD Crow is kind of unnecessary. And I rather like, if your hand is able to search DD Crow, then you pretty much just FTK anyways. You'll notice nowhere in this list is Tri-Brigade Oath. That's because of Pop of Desires. With Tri-Brigade Oath, you have to not banish Oath, Kit, and Karash in order to like do Oath combo most of the time. Instead, I'm opting to side Solemn Judgment, which is something that you didn't see in Gabriel Netzless. He didn't play Judgment or Featherstorm because he's relying on Oath to save him, which is fair enough. Like, Oath will just save you most of the time. But because I don't even have access to Oath, I'm opting to play Solemn Judgment. In my side deck, I'm also playing Droll and Lancer as my hand traps, as well as Mystic Mine to help sort of break boards. And instead of the 3rd Recital, I'm playing Appaloosa. That's more also because of that's another call because of Pop Desires. If I banish the Apex Aether, you can go into Appaloosa instead of Samoric. Now on to Small World. There's 2 lists here that played Small World. First is Jordan Gallagher. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, I'm sorry. But with Small World, you play Dinotherium because Dinotherium links with everything. And then on top of that, his bird engine is the same as mine. 3 Beryl, 2 Celestine, 2 Sapphire. His hand traps is this main deck Gamma, but he's also main decking Forbidden Droplets, which is a very strong board breaker right now. Because he's playing Small World, he's playing also Tri-Brigade Oath in the main. And in the side deck, his hand traps are Draw 1 Nibiru, as well as he sides into Triple Tactics, Trin, and Featherstorm. So he's like doing Oath and Featherstorm, much like the Jeff and Salas James list. In the extra deck, you'll see 3 Recital instead of the Appaloosa. Mostly because he doesn't need an Appaloosa, I guess. Now here we have Jake Quincy's top 4 list. So Jordan's was first place, this is top 4. We see the DD Crow come in once again. We also see like 2 Effect Feather, which is like fresh. I think Effect Feather is like kind of weird, like without input, but it does make sense in the context of Small World. So is Ghost Mono Moonlight Chill. That's another card that's sort of being played mostly because of Small World, I'm assuming. Ghost Mono can also hit Scythe. I'm not too sure if that's like part of the reasoning behind that. He's also playing Oath. And his Lyrilusc engine is basically the same, except he's only playing 2 Nerf Outwits. I'm pretty sure the other lists weren't. In the side deck, his board breakers include Dark Ruler, Mystic Mine, and Raigeki. He's not really playing any hand traps in the side. His hand traps are all in the main, being the Nib, Fader, Crow, and Mona. He's also side decking the Featherstorm, and his extra deck is the same. Now onto the Tenyi Swordsoul list. We'll firstly start with top 4 Michael Broadbent. This is a go second build. It's main decking Lightning Storm, Droplets, Dark Ruler, evenly match, and Impum, or as blind second pieces. The Tenyi cards are very important in the Swordsoul list if you're blind in second, because the Tenyi cards are very effective at breaking boards. And then in the side deck for when he goes first, he has like Anti-Spell, Imperial Order, and Arch Nemesis Protoss, a card that locks the opponent out of an attribute. Why does every deck have a card like this? Like, actually, what the fuck? But pretty solid list. Like you'll see this sort of list a lot, but he is in the extra deck playing Nova, Mechaba, and Entis as targets for when he gets Maximus. He's also playing Crimson Blader, I'm assuming, for the mirror match. I think that's a very cool card. But yeah, there's not really playing any hand traps in the main. There's like the Imperm, because Imperm accounts, like Imperm interacts as a hand trap and a board breaker. Talking of Imperm like cards, he's playing Chalice in the side, which is also to go inside with the droplets. Now on to Brandon Polly. Brandon Polly makes up for 2 of the Tenyi Swordsoul tops. He got a top 4 and a top 8, both of the same list. And so I'm only going to show you like the list once, but he topped twice with this list on the same weekend. It's pretty similar. Like, I'm pretty sure the main deck's the same, except he's playing Chalice over Droplets. Personally, I think Chalice is better. Like, personally, I think Droplets is bad in Swordsoul, mainly because, like, even with the Tenyis, like, you want to be summoning the Tenyis from hand, you don't really want to be doing their grave effects too much, because, like, they're so strong because you can summon them, then do the grave effects, right? So Droplets, like, is kind of weird when you play it in Swordsoul, because you just want to maintain the hand advantage, especially with cards like Mole. So I think like maining Chalice over Droplets is the correct call. In the side deck, we see Anti-Spell once again for when he's going first alongside Arch Nemesis Protoss. He's also side decking hand traps, being Lancer and Droll. And in the extra deck, he's not playing Maximus targets, but he is playing Roddy Rose Dragon and Dragite, as well as Draco Berserker of the Tenyi. Now on to James Hathaway. This is... I'm pretty sure this is a blind first list, so the previous 2, or technically 3 lists we saw were blind second list, but I'm pretty sure this is a crack at blind and first. Still playing a Tenyi engine, but only 2 for shooter. The previous list were playing 3, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the blind second list were playing 3, and the blind first lists play like 2 for shooter. We see Arch Nemesis Protoss in the main because it beats the board breakers. And he's playing 1 Ash, 1 Failure. I'm not too sure about this one. Maybe it's because they're tuners, like you can normal summon them to go with the like Tenyis. That might be why. But the 1 Ash, 1 Failure I don't really have a good answer for. He is main decking Droplets, and he's also main decking Summit, which is the Revival spell. It's something we didn't see in the blind second list. He is also playing 2 copies of Blackout as opposed to 1, and he's playing 2 copies of Desires as opposed to the 3 we've seen previously. In terms of hand traps, once again, he's playing Lancia and Droll, and he's also side decking Judgments instead of side decking Anti-Spell Fragrance. Now onto the final Swordsoul Tenyi list, which you guys are probably thinking, phew, finally. Like, Swordsoul is basically doesn't vote, except you need to see 2 Alistair in order to combo. So I can understand that maybe it's a bit tiring, but this is the last Swordsoul list, I promise. Oh, well, for this week at least. This is another what looks to be a blind first list. Once again, only playing 2 for shooter. And he's main decking Arch Nemesis Protoss. Something to know about Protoss is that it's not a strictly go first card, and you do have many Swordsoul players that do side Protossing when they go second, because it's a very strong board breaking card as well. Like, say, for example, if you Dark Order a board, you can then pair it with Protoss to out everything. Because Protoss is broken like that. He is playing Order in the main. I'm pretty sure the last list was as well, but I don't quite remember. But he is main decking more hand traps, being Ash, Vader, Imperm, and he's siding into Droll Gamma. Not really playing Dark Order anymore, not really playing Droplets. But he is side decking Evenly Match, which I believe is a more powerful board breaker. Evenly Match is really insane at the moment. And if your deck doesn't make Zeus, I would definitely 100% recommend playing Evenly Match. Extra deck is like pretty much the same as the last list. It's all the same with Swordsoul. But yeah, it's Swordsoul. Now on to the other deck list, the sort of more rogue stuff, starting with, I think it's Striker? No, Prank Kids. Hero Prank Kids. Isn't this a cool deck? So this is a basic Prank Kids deck where you have the whole like Prank Kid engine, which is like takes about 20 slots. And then you have like a bunch of hand traps. So you have 3 Nib, 3 Droll, 3 Imperm, and 3 Dark Ruler something to watch out for. Dark Ruler does has a sort of issue with Lampseas, where you can't use Lampseas effect if you use Dark Ruler. But like a lot of it doesn't come up too often, and Dark Ruler is a powerful enough card to warrant playing it anyways. So yeah, so he's maining 3 copies of Dark Ruler in mid draw. That's like because this deck can. He's also maining the Fusion Destiny engine, being 3 Fusion Destiny, 1 Celestial, 1 Dasher. This is something we saw on the PK list, and now we're seeing it in another PK list because Prankits get it. Other than that, it looks like a Prankits list. It sounds like a Prankits list. In the side deck, we get into some interesting stuff. Once again, Siding Evenly Match, very powerful card. But he's also Siding Deck Mooney 1. This is a very strong floodgate at the moment, as it's incredibly effective against Swordsoul, PK, and it's quite strong into Tri-Lyrilusc. So very good, cool for the meta. As well as other floodgates, he's also siding Skill Drain, and he's siding Scythe to pair with Sanctum. Alongside Sanctum, he also has Lancer. I'm assuming he's siding Lancer with the Sanctum against decks like PK. In the extra deck, he's playing 2 Battle Butler. I don't know what you were playing before Meow Meow, but this is like the first PK, the first Prankits list I've seen since Meow Limit. So 2 Battle Butler, just to note. 1 Meow, unfortunately, but he's playing 3rd tape with Destroy, Phoenix, Enforcer. Which I think is very interesting. I think that's a very cool. Now on to Dinosaur. Top 8. 58 card Dinosaur. If there's one word to describe this deck, it's based. This is like the biggest dick energy I've seen in a deck list ever. So he's playing 58 this combo heavy with Dragoon. He doesn't care. Scrap Engine, 3 Baby with 1 Petite, 2 Archosaur. He's like, it's like dinosaur stuff basically. Godosaurus, I think it's interesting. You don't see that too often. He's also main decking 3 Pop Prosperity as well as 3 Small World. And he's playing Red Eyes Fusion. He's also playing Plague Spreader Zombie as a Halka target. I'm assuming so that he can put back Red Eyes Fusion. That's what makes the most sense. But if he doesn't want to summon Plague Spreader, he can also summon Gamma. They're both level 2 tuners, which I'm pretty sure might come up sometimes. In the side deck, he is siding 1 copy of Dimensional Barrier, which on first glance you might be thinking, sounds kind of sussy. But you notice in the extra deck, he is playing Mathmech Alma Bersian, which is able to detach like 4 materials to search any spell trap card. Yes, the barrier is searchable. His extra deck also includes Desert Locust, a card that hand rips if you summon it off Halka Firebright, so he is likely leaving Halka Firebrights on his board to tag out into the Desert Locust. The Desert Locust, alongside that, we have Savage, Baronet, and Omega. I'm assuming Omega is more so for the Gamma, but the Savage and Baronet are interesting choices. He also has Dragoon. He has like Dagia, Loka. Lots of people are going to get mad at that. Also Lambda for if he has Gamma in hand and wants to protect the rest of his combo. All in all, very base deck, very cool. Damn. I wish I was this brave. Next up, we have top 8 once again, but this time it's Hero Sky Striker. Another DPE deck. I think Hero Sky Striker is a very underappreciated deck at the moment, but Sky Striker sucks, so it makes sense. The standard Sky Striker ratios, not really too much to comment, but it is interesting that he is main decking 2 copies of Shared Ride. He's also main decking deck Rooney 1, and he's main in MST, presumably because of Area 0. His hand traps include Ash, Failure, Imperm, and his side just does board breakers or like very strong go first cards such as Different Dimension Ground and Solemn Judgment. He also sides like Evenly. Once again, deck doesn't make Zeus, Evenly, instant include. Mystic Mine, he's also siding 2 of. Other than that, it's like Sky Striker. We've seen this a bunch of times. So let's move on to the next part. Let's break down all the hand traps that we've been that we've seen in these lists. So this is sorted by most popular to least popular overall, where you sort of get to see Infinite Impermanence, Stroll, and Ash, really are very popular hand traps at the moment. Nib, Gamma, and Lancer are very close. They're sort of like popular enough that they're worth mentioning, but like probably on the lesser side. But like Imperm, Droll, Ash, Nib, Gamma, Lancer, all popular hand traps right now. Now onto the lesser known hand traps. We get to like Effect Failure, really fell off because yeah, it's not that good into Friday with us when they go UDF. We also see only 4 token collector, one of it being a 1-off in the PK list and the other being a 3-off in the Dinosaur side deck. Token collector not really seeing too much play despite Swordsoul popularity. Maybe because Swordsoul sucks. That's my answer. We also see 3 DD Crows were played, all in Lyrilusc decks because it's searchable. And we see the Mourner from the Drake Quincy list making an appearance here at the bottom. Next up, we see board breakers, arguably more important. Most popular board breakers right now, like Dark Ruler, Lightning Storm, evenly matched. We see a lot of Cosmic Cyclones. We see quite a bit of Mystic Mine. I think this is a card that not people are aware of, but Mystic Mine is very strong right now. Even against Swordsoul, the Blackout only works if the opponent controls 2 cards, so you can just activate Mystic Mine. It's probably why we saw so much Imperial Order, because Order's the only really good counter to Mystic Mine. Unless you want to side like Cosmic Cyclone against a combo deck, which is like, why? We also see like there's some Triple Tactics being played, some Twin Twisters being played. Red Reboot is quite popular. The only reason why Reboot looks like it's not so popular on here is because it's limited, but that's 11 decks out of 15 that played Red Reboot. Spooky, I know, right? And then we see like Raigeki, like there's random like small things, like Duster wasn't too popular, Raigeki wasn't too popular, Dogoran was only in the Dinosaur list because it was in Engine, and Scourgeon is something you only really have to worry about against Prank Kids and Eldritch, not really against anything else. Next up we have the side deck. If you notice, this is on the side now. Yeah, that was deliberately done and not because I don't have the space. But you see, the most popular sided card was Red Reboot. People hate those trap cards. We're talking about people hating the opponent being able to play their cards. We have Draw and Lockbird as the second most sided card. We then go into Cosmic Cyclone, Lightning Storm, and Imperial Order, all being sided in equal amount of decks. We see a lot of Order. Damn, that's wild. Lancer, Evenly Matched Judgment, Mystic Mine Twins all make quite enough appearances. And then we have cards like Gamma, Protoss, Chalice, Nibiru making sort of appearances. Probably still worth like keeping an eye out or near out for. Now we get to go into tech choices, probably the most interesting part. Let's start with Tri-Brigade Oath. Out of the 5 Tri-Brigade Lyrilusc decks I could find, 3 of them main decked Oath, 1 of them sided Oath, and 1 of them didn't play Oath. But let's move on to Scythe. Out of the 2 PK lists I found, only 2 decks were on Scythe, but I only had 2 decks, so Scythe is 100% top in PK. Let's go. Again, like not really much of a sample size, unfortunately, but I will try to get even more information for next week, don't worry. This is all I could find on YouTube, though. Next up, we have Arch Nemesis Protoss in Swordsoul list. Notice all the Swordsoul lists were Tenyi, which may have an influence here, but 2 main decked it, 3 sided it. You may notice we only saw it twice, but Brandon Poddy topped twice with the same list, so that's 2 tops. Plus the other person that sided Protoss. Again, maybe it's because only the Tenyi version top that we saw Protoss so much. Maybe it's not. Because I see like people don't really like it so much in the pure build. But yeah, I mean, only the Tenyi version top, so maybe that has something to say about Swordsoul. Next up, we have this other stuff that's really applicable to every deck, Destroy, Phoenix, Enforcer. Out of 15 decks, it was played in 4 decks, that being 2 Phantom Knight decks, 1 Prank Kids deck, and 1 Sky Striker deck. In the decks that didn't see you play were like decks like Tri-Brigade Lyrilusc and Swordsoul Tenyi, which don't really have the ability to play DPE, so that might be why they weren't playing it. And Dinosaur. DPE still more success than Dragoon. Even if it's like only being played in like even if it's only being played in 1 of the 3 top decks right now, it still makes a really strong presence, especially in road decks such as Point Kids and Sky Striker that can play it as well. Next up, we have Small World. I thought Small World's an interesting card, so I wanted to see like what sort of decks were playing Small World. Only 3, which has been 2 of the Tri-Brigade Lyrilusc decks and one Dinosaur list. In the decks that weren't playing it, it's like pretty much everything else. But yeah, Small World is a very interesting card, but it doesn't seem to be too popular. The only the only deck that can play is like Tri-Brigade Lyrilusc, but you have to consider that it's really bad into draw if you're playing Tri-Brigade Lyrilusc. So that might be why we don't see too much of it. And now finally the most important card. Imperial Order. 5 decks main decked order. 7 decks main decked order. Right, 5 decks main decked order. 7 decks side decked order. 12 decks out of 15 that topped were playing fucking Imperial Order. And on that note, I'd like to say thank you everyone for watching. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I love Imperial Order, yay! And until next time, I'll see you gamers later. Next video of this is going to be on Friday, just to let you guys know. I'll try to have it more relevant. And then the week after, I'll try to do YCS stuff more so than regional stuff. Because what's up? Remote Duel YCS is next weekend, or this weekend, 11th and 12th of December. But anyways, I'll see you gamers next time. Bada bing, bada boom, goodbye.